We've had the usual late afternoon, early evening rain showers in Atlanta. Welcome to Turner Field's second game of the four-game weekend series. Yeah, the Nats have plenty of support on the road, it seems, no matter where we go these days. Thumbs up for another road win, hopefully tonight. And the Atlanta Braves may not be as generous as they were last night with Julio Teheran on the mound. But we have Tanner Roark in FP. I know you've enjoyed watching him all year. He's become one of the best and one of the most durable pitchers in the league.
13 wins on the season, tied for third in the National League, and with a win tonight, he's one behind Steven Strasburg. Who would have thought that a month ago? But if we go back to last Sunday against the Braves, 107 heat index at Nats Park. Who cares? He went out there and went 7 innings, gave up just 1 run on 5 hits, doing his thing. And the stat I like best about Tanner Roark, he has the lowest hard hit rate in the major leagues at 23.1%. What's that mean? 2 out of 10 hitters hit the ball hard off of Tanner Roark. It's because he has so much late movement, he's hard to square up.
Yeah, and he's a winner, too. He's learned how to pitch deep into ball games. On nights when things maybe don't go perfectly for him, he still finds a way to hang around. And look at the bottom line. The Nats almost always win when he starts a game. Now, Julio Teheran started opening day against the Nationals here. It's hard to believe in this ballpark he has not won a single game all year.
Well, he hasn't pitched since July 30th. He's coming off the disabled list with a right lat strain. Came out of his last start against the Phillies, so we'll see how he fares tonight.
And he may want to avoid Bryce Harper if he can. Bryce has 5 career homers against Julio Teheran, hitting .429 against him. 2 of those have come this year, 3 in previous years. That may be the marquee matchup of the night. The righty-lefty, Teheran and Harper. It's the Nats and the Braves straight ahead. Around the bases last night, kind of a crazy game, and that 8-2 win. Now Tanner Roark and company will try to make it 2 in a row. Cloudy skies. We've had rain forecast, doesn't say rain. That's very, very good. 79 here, humidity just about as high. And here's the Nats lineup. No Zimmerman and Lobaton back yet, but that will be soon. In the meantime, Jason Worth He'll try to keep that on-base streak going, batting 5th tonight behind Ramos ahead of Anthony Rendon. Jason's also hit safely in 7 of his last 8 ball games, and he has 5 career hits against Julio Teheran. He's only 25 years old. Seems like he's been around forever. 3-3, 14th start against the Nats.
Yeah, last start was July 30th against the Phillies, a 9-5 loss. He came out of that ball game with a right lat strain, went on the disabled list, called the trainers out, and that was that. But he ended up going 5 innings, giving up 3 runs on 5 hits in an 86-pitch effort. So we'll see how he fares tonight. He went to AAA, had 1 rehab start, said he felt good, and here he is back on a big league mound. There's a defense behind Julio Teheran tonight. Kevin Ciarte Markakis, the outfield. Swanson Darno, left side. Beckham Freeman, right side. And Tyler Flowers behind the plate.
Braves are 44-77, 18-42 at home. The Nats looking for number 72 tonight. 9.5 up on Miami. Marlins are at Pittsburgh this weekend. The Mets at San Francisco. Here's Trey Turner hitting .313. He'll see Julio live for the first time. Fastball is up in the zone. We are underway at 7:36. Turner on base percentage .333. Upstairs 1 for 4 with a sac fly last night. Dan Bellino has the plate tonight. Phil Cuzzi at first, Adam Hamari at second, and the crew chief, there he is, Tom Hallion, stretching out his back after all those strikeouts by Lopez last night. That ball laced into the left field corner. It's going to 2-hop the wall out there, and Trey Turner speeding into second. Led off the game with a base hit last night and scored a run.
Hates chin strap, but there goes a no-hitter. Last 7 games, 14 for 37, so make it 15 for 38 for Trey Turner. 4 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, 5 stolen bases, 11 runs, and he starts this game off with a double and his helmet falling off. It must be those kids, he and Bryce. They can't keep him on their head.
Yeah, that's the only flaw I have seen with Trey so far.
Let's go, tighten it up.
Yeah, tighten up the helmet, headgear. Here comes Ben Revere now, looking to at least move the runner. Number 2 spot tonight, worth hitting 5th. Going to lay down a bunt, and it's a good one in terms of moving the runner, and then Teheran to Freddie Freeman for the first out. Good job of making it happen quickly by Revere with Harper coming up. So Trey, 3rd among rookies as far as hitting and hit gathering since the 10th of July, and that includes the double. Julio Teheran at home this season. Problem is the ERA is good, but the run support is way under that. They just can't score for him. And the Nats, a great record in the division, 33-15.
Some high fives going back to the dugout for a job well done. Now Bryce Harper has a chance to put his ball club ahead.
Bryce has 10 career RBIs against Julio Teheran to go with those 5 home runs we showed you in our opening segment. .429 career against the right-hander. Do you pitch around a guy in the first inning? He drops the breaking ball in for a strike. They've got the shift on with Beckham short right field. Shortstop Swanson to the right of the second base bag.
Time?
Yeah, very deliberate here. Bryce is going to hang in there and wait.
So Bryce with 118 career homers. Did you say 117 are off Teheran?
Ask Julio. It may seem like it to him.
Serious ownage. Remember opening day, first at bat, gone.
He's given up 16 this year, but he can be hard to hit. 205, 4th lowest opponent's batting average in the National League. Taking a ton of time between pitches. And Bryce will foul that one off to the left side, 1-2. Harper on base 12 of his last 13 games to the tune of 448. 12 hits, 14 walks over that time. So Bryce is on a list with Mark Teixeira, Albert Pujols, and Carlos Beltran as the guys who wear out the base paths here at Turner Field. It's all brought to you by Jeep. Up and in.
Right. Infield back. Bryce is trying to put the ball in play for an RBI. He'd like more, but you see where the shift is and where everybody's playing. Trying to put the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Yeah, lined one right through the shift over the second baseman last night to salvage a 1-for-3 night, but he did walk twice and scored both times. 2-2. He rips it to the right side. That's an RBI. Trey Turner just coming home. The Nats on the board, and that's number 63 for Bryce Harper.
What a difference with Trey Turner at the top of the order. So give Ben Revere credit. He got Trey to third base. Bryce Harper, a lot of credit with 2 strikes, putting the ball in play. You don't ever take those for granted. 1-0 Nationals. Nicely done all the way around.
Wilson Ramos hitting .328 on the road. .326 overall. That road average 5th best in the league. 3 career hits, a homer against Tehran. Just kind of seems weird to see Jason batting 5th anymore. That ball into left center, and Ramos has himself an extra base hit. Wilson rumbling to second. That'll add to that .326 batting average. So Ramos, 19 home runs and now 21 doubles. He makes it to 40 extra base hits.
Well, you give the Buffalo a day off. He's got some fresh legs, and he's just so smooth at the plate. That front foot down early, head still. The bat has been quick all season long. Maybe a little quicker with the off day, and he'll start this ball game up 1-for-1 with a double.
So here comes Jason Worth on base. 46 consecutive games. Tehran's been a tough matchup for him over the years. Only 5 for 29. And Julio has struck him out 10 times. Worth does have 3 RBIs against him. So no matter where you're hitting tonight, that's a challenge. First pitch breaking ball right in there.
Yeah, but Jason Worth put on some kind of display in batting practice today. He was hitting big time bombs to left center field.
All the guys rapt attention over there. Worth will get under one and foul it out of play. So he has tied Rusty Staub. Rusty's parts of 2 seasons, as was Tim Raines. Trying to stand alone at the top of the franchise all-time on-base streak. Hello, Ryan Zimmerman.
Strong beer game. Like it.
One ball, 2 strikes. Right off the end of the bat.
So good arm in center, good arm in right. Markakis cheating in. I think the easiest place for Wilson to score would be a base hit to left, believe it or not. Look how deep Matt Kemp is.
Yeah, Kemp has 7 assists, but Inciarte has 13. Not a lot of guys run on Nick Markakis. Upstairs again, another long at bat for Jason Worth, first time around. I mean, look at that. The guys can't wait to hit. They're all lined up.
I love it.
Even Clint Robinson, the number 7 guy's back there ready.
They're ready.
It's great. Espinosa.
It's a great shot. I was just about to say that. They all want to hit. Usually just the guy in the hole has his helmet on, but Clint Robinson and Danny Espinosa are ready. Espinosa hitting 8th.
the swing and a miss. The Nationals, though, parlay a Trey Turner double, a Revere bunt, and a Harper grounder into an early lead. Fundamental inning for the Nationals with a ground ball that produces a run. Here come the Braves now. 12th in the league in batting average, last in the big leagues in runs and in homers. Don't tell that to Freddie Freeman. He's on an 8-game hitting streak, 30 doubles, 60 extra base hits, .393 career against Tanner Roark as Tanner's toughest matchup. Gordon Beckham in there at second base tonight. Young shortstop Dansby Swanson playing in his third big league ball game. And here's Tanner, 5-1 career against the Braves.
Fourth win in a row last start against Atlanta on the 14th. 7 innings, 1 run on 5 hits, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a 99 pitch gem. 107 heat index in that Sunday start at Nats Park. So fastball, slider, curveball change. Fastball averaging 92 miles an hour. And here we go.
Inciarte goes up swinging. It was foul. This guy's 4 for 8 against Roark, and he was attacking early.
Here's your Nats defense tonight behind Tanner. Worth, Revere, Harper. The outfield, Espinosa, Rendon left side. Turner, Robinson right side. And Wilson Ramos back behind the plate. Ben Revere back in center field tonight. Trey Turner gets the small glove out. He's back at second base.
Roark with a high fastball, and it produces a fly ball to Bryce Harper. Inciarte in swing mode. Chase Darno, Freddie Freeman now the next 2. So, yeah, there's the record. 9 starts for Tanner, 14 appearances overall as he worked out of the bullpen some last year. Always good against the Braves, including that clincher a couple of years ago. In there to Darno, came off the bench in the 9th inning last night, had a pinch hit. It's been really good for them in that role. Overall hitting .254.
With the win tonight, he's 1 behind Steven Strasburg with 14.
How about that? And of course, Max Scherzer trying to keep up with Tanner now. You talk about a guy who's pushing the other guys in the rotation. You like that, huh? On the hand, strike 2. Yeah, looking at the league leaders, Tanner Roark, 3rd in wins in the entire league. Here's another thing. He's 5th in innings, over 157 now. ERA's in the top 8. Target in.
He's usually amped up in the first inning. You look at his NL ranks and works from up to down. 13-2 in his last 15 games. That's the one I like.
There's a breaking ball. Had the hitter reaching. Danny Espinosa waiting for it. It's going to be close. Got him. Darno gets down the line well. Fly ball, a grounder. 2 outs.
He got caught in the hop. He had to wait for the big hop, so in waiting for it, he knew he had to hurry, but he had the arm to make it up. Nice play.
So Freeman's numbers interesting against Tanner. There's his hitting streak. 12 for 23, bunch of homers and RBIs. Big shift. So he's batting .393 against Roark, but I'll give you the power numbers after the at bat. It's interesting. That ball up there in the cloudy sky. Revere. So Freddie Freeman still does not have a single career RBI against Tanner Roark. 1, 2, 3.
One to nothing as we go to the top of the second, but last night 7 strong innings from the kid. I mean, 98, 99, nasty curveball, reaching back, throwing it by good hitters. 8 strikeouts through 3 innings. He goes 7 with 11 strikeouts. Gave up just a couple of runs, 1 earned, 4 hits on the night, and Tom Hallion's back is sore today from ringing people up.
Love that. You know, thinking about what we saw at the ballpark last night, and Jeep gives us the numbers of 10 strikeout games or more by Nats pitchers. What we witnessed last night was, in my opinion, one of the top 3 or 4 starts by a rookie pitcher in the history of this ball club.
Agreed.
Strasburg has, you know, a number of those, but I mean, right up there with some of the greatest ever we've seen by a first-year guy. Rendon, Robinson, Espinosa, top of the second. Enjoy your relaxed day there. Reynaldo Lopez. Got to be such a great feeling to come to the ballpark the next day, get your work in, knowing that you got your team off to a great start in a series the night before.
I mean, with that arm, if he stays healthy, the worst thing he can be in his career is an amazing closer. The worst thing.
There's Anthony Rendon hitting over .315 for the last month. (2-0) from Tehran, who threw 17 pitches, 12 strikes first inning. Now he goes to 3-0.
just throw a 3-1 fastball down the middle to Anthony. He's out right now. You have to locate this pitch if you're Tehran.
High strike. 3-2. Nissan will track it.
Well, Anthony thought it was high. But you see Tyler Flowers bring it down, and we'll do it all over again.
Rendon pops it up right side. Freddie Freeman waving everybody off. That's how the second inning starts, with Robinson and Espinosa, the next two. Turner Field, final year. He's averaging almost 23,000 a game. Second fewest in the league, but expecting big things from their new ballpark next year.
You know, as a player, when you play in a ballpark in its very first year, and you keep coming to it, and it looks old, guess what? You're old. When this thing opened up, it was a gem, and you walk around now, and it's old, and they do need a new ballpark.
They do.
So what's that mean? You're a fossil.
It's my understanding, old man, that they're going to take this property and eventually convert it into a football stadium for Georgia State University, which is just up into downtown, maybe a mile or so.
Georgia Tech or Georgia State?
Georgia State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tech has a big football stadium. Yeah, Georgia State playing D1 football. And they're also talking about a baseball field where the old Fulton County Stadium was. They obviously won't need huge parking lots like there are there. So Georgia State U, which is a short distance from here, right next to the state capitol downtown, is going to make pretty good use of this property. There's the old outfield wall at Fulton County Stadium, just north of us. 2-1, and Clint Robinson off to the left side. 2-2.
I saw some pictures that Chip Carey had on his iPad about showing the new ballpark, and it looks nice. Real nice. It's going to be a community in and of itself. Hotels, shopping, restaurants, everything.
Capacity will be about the same as Nationals Park, 41 to 42,000. Robinson outside, 3-2. SunTrust Stadium is, maybe Park will be the new one. Payoff pitch to Clint, who's done well his last 18 times as a starter. Hitting over 260, 11 RBIs. Got one here last night with an 8th inning base hit, part of that bizarre 5-run inning that allowed the Nationals to pull away from the Braves. Traveling well, our fans these days.
I see red people.
They're smiling, most of them. They like the way things are going. And Clint Robinson's on base with 1 out.
Good at bat, nicely done. Good eye. Still wants that 2-1 fastball back, but he'll take the walk.
Tehran on the year, 120 strikeouts. That's his 30th walk. Clint walks for the 15th time. And here's Danny Espinosa. Julio's been a tough matchup for Danny as well. 4 for 23. But he was on base 3 times, actually twice last night. One of those walks with the bases loaded. So it looks like the plan is to keep him from pulling the ball the way the outfield's playing. Huge gap right center. I mean, that's a triple waiting to happen out there. Right under his hands with a strike. Counts even 1-1. So we started 24 minutes ago into the 8 o'clock hour here. Bob FP and Dan right here on Masson, the Nationals' 121st game of the year.
Almost broke out into a rap right there. Close.
You know, once it's in you. 1-2. I am banned from the south side of Chicago for the next 3 years.
Phenomenal.
That was fun that night. I want to jam him here. Up and in for the strikeout. 2 Ks for Tehran. The Glenn Robinson walk will at least allow the Nats to turn over the lineup.
Friday, August 26th, special night at the ballpark. First 25,000 fans, you get a Max Scherzer no-hitter bobblehead. That's the second one presented by PNC Bank. Plus, just announced, the Senators legend Frank Howard will be inducted in the Ring of Honor prior to the ball game. That is awesome. Don't miss this special night at the Yard. Visit nationals.com/tickets.
Tanner Roark gets a pretty big piece of that one to the right field corner, and Nick Markakis, a step and a half from the wall, will pull it in. Oppo pop for Tanner Roark.
Against the pitchers cheating in, right? So Nick Markakis, you'd think, would be cheating in against Tanner Roark. Well, top right part of your screen. A little respect. Number one, because Clint Robinson's on first. You don't want anything hit over your head, but he also knows Tanner can hit. So very rarely do you see an outfielder go back against the wall and rob a pitcher of extra bases. If you hit it that hard the other way as a pitcher, usually it's at least 2 bases. But Markakis with 2 outs because there's a runner on first, respect, and did a nice job going back on it.
Yeah, great swing. Tanner's hit into a lot of rough luck this year. 5 hits on the year. Should have probably twice as many as that. So he's back to work with his primary job. 10 pitches, 6 strikes, first inning. When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Look who the Nats reacquired today from the Minnesota organization, Sean Burnett. The guys need some lefties in that bullpen, and maybe a September call-up, maybe before then. Who knows? Sean always good against right-handed hitters too.
One of our all-time favorites, and I have a feeling we'll be seeing him sometime shortly. I think it was a good pick.
Sean Burnett is brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. He was with the Nats in spring training, enjoyed spending some time with him, and you can go home again. We'll find out.
Remember, he had a great spring training. Just wasn't room when the Nats broke camp. One ball, one strike.
Matt Kemp 10th of the league in homers with Freddie Freeman, each with 24. 3 for 8 career against Tanner Roark, who's keeping the ball away from him. He's hit a couple of home runs against Tanner. Challenge fastball. Fly ball right field. Bryce Harper. It's coming back to him off the bat of the right-hander. 4 straight to start the game.
And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one on this Friday night, look forward to Miller Time later in the ballgame. That's brought to you by Miller Lite.
Throw the ball around the infield and Tanner Roark catches it barehanded.
Always.
I like it. There's Nick Markakis. Nick at 270. More home runs than last year. Only hit 3 all year with the Braves. Drove in 53 runs. Played a full season. 156 games. Been a real Iron Man over the years. He was hurt with the Orioles in 2012. That's the last time he played under 155 games. Tailing outside 3-0. Tanner has walked him 6 times. Markakis 1 for 12 against Roark. Well, another set of unusual matchup numbers. Missing inside. Braves have their first base runner. 1 out, 2nd inning. Catcher Tyler Flowers next.
That's where Tanner's been so good this year, getting the ground ball double play and pitching for it below the strike zone. Sinkers in on righties.
Yeah, it seems like every highlight package we show now during or after a Tanner Roark start features some 2-for-1s. Nationals are 5th in the league in turning double plays with 112. Close, ball 1. Flowers, a 30-year-old catcher, most of his big league career, in fact all of it until this year with the White Sox. He's a Georgia guy out of Roswell. Signed a 2-year free agent deal here with the Braves. They've always had a penchant for local guys on their team. Brian McCann, Jeff Francoeur, many others. And Tanner has 21 of those ground ball double plays. Late swing, 2-1. Another long count after the walk. Well, maybe not so long on the appeal. Strike call. So it's 2-2.
Yeah, where'd the pitch miss, though? I mean, that's exactly where he wanted it. Down in the zone, 2-1 pitch. This is the ground ball pitch that led to that graphic. I thought Wilson was kind of casual with it. If he held it there longer, he'd have got the call, but he was throwing it back all in one motion.
Yeah, so Mercedes-Benz showing us a pitch that should have been a called strike. Got the swing anyway, and now it's 2-2. Roark trying to go right in there with the heater. It goes full. He's wondering right now, by some of his body language, where is the inside corner at the moment?
Yeah, he said, let's go. basically. And it was to the umpire.
Flowers has some pop, 7 home runs. He went double digits with the White Sox several times. So you don't want to have to throw a ball out over the plate to get a strike. Runner aboard, 1 out, bottom of the second. Nats on top by 1. Runner going, swing and a foul. Tanner Roark tonight. 73rd career start. Record 39 and 24. Long hold after Markakis was running. There he goes again. Strike call. Strike him out. Throw him out. Double play. So it didn't happen on the ground, but it's a DP.
Well, the long hold was so that if he threw a strike 3 right here, he'd get the double play. He threw Markakis off with his paws. Markakis got a horrible jump. Flowers takes it, and that's a thanks for coming double play, all because of Tanner Roark. Tanner Roark disrupting Nick Markakis' jump here. Watch the jump that Markakis gets. It's bad. And in Markakis' defense, not trying to steal second base, but you do have to get a decent jump on a 3-2 count just in case it's strike 3. And because of the pause by Tanner Roark, disrupted the timing of Markakis, gave Wilson Ramos a chance to throw him out. So complete game awareness. And then maybe a little chat with the home plate umpire, Dan Bellino, about some sinkers into Flowers that he thought were strikes. Got it all covered.
Yeah, the pitcher's acting like a point guard out there running the show right now. I like it. Top of the order, top of the third.
Or a high school quarterback, which is what he was.
Trey laying off the high fastball.
I'd have paid $350 on a Friday night to see Tanner Roark play quarterback. $5, whatever it is.
Look at Turner reach out and just fouled by 2 feet maybe.
Well, it all starts at the top. Table setter, setting the tone. Any cliche you want to throw in there, but Trey Turner's getting her done at the top of the spot. And then Ben Revere with a perfect bunt. It doesn't have to be down the line, especially when you have the speed of Turner. And then Bryce Harper with 2 strikes in the infield back. So get him on, get him over, get him in. Manufactured first run.
Yeah, and get it all done quickly. Turner rips another one. It's a base hit to left. He's going to round first, and Matt Kemp will bring it back in. Trey Turner's batting average on the move.
Tell you what, if Trey Turner was up all year, it would be he and Trevor Story for Rookie of the Year. Speed versus power. Which one would you want? The way he's playing. Corey Seager too in there.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to win that, by the way?
Yeah, can Trevor Story win it? Injured the second half of the season.
The Dodgers have that whole Rookie of the Year thing going on.
Yeah, there is a pedigree out there.
I think they've had the last 40 in a row.
So here's Ben Revere. Bunted first time. He could be doing it again, but maybe he waits a pitch or two and see what Turner does. I know you like bunting early in the count, but this is kind of an interesting situation with such a burner on base.
Now, you have to take a strike if you're hitting behind Trey Turner, I think. Give him a chance to get the second.
Agreed. Off speed pitch. The curveball dropping in. 72. Slowest he's thrown.
I don't think the dugout loved that one. Dan Bellino looking over there. Maybe it's Tanner Roark. Let's go.
Turner is 13 for 14. And right now the number 10 guy in the league has 18 steals. So look out, guys. There's a rookie on the way. He was a little slower getting back. And Tehran gave Freeman a low throw.
And Freeman gave the dugout. Look at it. He's going. You see the lean jab step. Did he get back?
Tehran's not going to go up on the mound until the dugout checks it out.
Too much dirt to tell.
Looked like he got back and all is well. Brian Snitker running the Braves right now after Freddie Gonzalez departure. Been a rough year for Atlanta. They've lost 5 in a row now. Turner on the move, and Revere. Easy fly ball to left for Kemp. Trey doesn't know where the ball is. He got deked all over the place, and he gets back in time. He kind of froze near second.
You know, believe it or not, as a base runner, you could lose a ball in the twilight too, and I think that's what happened to Trey Turner. It's that time of night, and I was wondering what he was doing hanging around second so long, and did he outrun this? I thought he was out from here. Are they going to look at it? Phil Cuzzy says he's safe. It was close. Julio Tehran screaming, double play, let's go. Ooh.
Well, the Braves think they've got a challenge here for a double play.
Initially, I thought he was out. So when you're stealing, even if you look in, you see the ball up in the air, you can look and lose it. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, with the cloudy conditions here, twilight arriving early.
So there he is, hanging out, and he's like, hey, well, hell, what? Happens. So close at first. I think they got him.
Heck of a pickup by Freddie Freeman on the short hop.
So for those of you that don't know, they're looking in Chelsea, New York right now for any part of Freddie Freeman's glove the ball hits. Any part, as long as it's secured finally in the back of his glove.
It's a double play. Matt Kemp gets his 8th outfield assist of the year. And now the bases are empty for Bryce Harper. That's big.
Yeah, this is the definitive look. Watch Freeman's glove move just a little bit before Trey's foot gets there. Now that bag was stolen too, but if you're Ben Revere, you can't take 2 strikes.
Bryce Harper, RBI ground ball, the difference in the game, first time up. Two off-speed pitches. Three off-speed pitches. Bryce leads the league in walks with 89. Joey Votto 88. Paul Goldschmidt 87. And a heater on 3-0. Three and two. Nissan will track it.
Bryce thought it was outside. He started to go to first. We'll do it again.
So Tehran falling behind, 3 fastballs in a row now. Off-speed pitch, and that ball out to center. Hanging up for Enciarte. He's looking into the twilight. And the sky came into play a little bit on the double play. The Nats and the Braves done in the third.
Sometimes don't look in, meaning they don't peek to home plate to see if the ball is put in play. The guys will tell you it slows you down. So watch Trey Turner, top of the screen. He's going and he picks it up late. So you want to know how tough it is when a ball is put into play? He had about 14 people deking him. He had Dansby Swanson acting like he was going to turn a double play. I don't think this gets him because you're not going to deke a middle infielder. He knows. But then Ender Inciarte in center field was doing this. But watch Bob Henley at the bottom of the screen. That's who you got to find. You see him pointing up in the air. He finally saw Henley with his arm up. And by then it was too late. That's going to happen when you steal bases sometimes.
Bottom of the third, Gordon Beckham. I have to admit, I've always noticed the infielders doing it. First time I noticed the outfielder acting like he was picking up a ground ball base hit.
Yeah, he did look out there.
Pretty cool.
I mean, everybody's up to no good out there.
That should be a balk on all of them for trying to deceive the base runner.
Cheater, cheater, cheater.
Gordon Beckham is scuffling at 217.
Actually, it's real good baseball.
It is. Braves signed him as a free agent in December. 242 career in 7 years with the White Sox. And he just stays alive.
Who did Daniel Murphy get? You remember when he jumped for that line drive? And I feel it was against the Mets and one of his old teammates. It might have been Curtis Granderson. He jumped up in the air, kept him at second base on the ball that was hit into the gap in right center.
Yeah, great hops on that one too.
Wasn't near him though.
Well, the Braves can tell you about that. One of the most dramatic of all time, Lonnie Smith in the World Series. Minnesota deked him into not advancing, and it ended up costing them a game.
Skates?
Yeah.
It's a great nickname, isn't it? Like he played left field.
He had his own way of playing the outfield. We saw him in another baseball city in the Midwest, and he had a way of playing left field.
That's the best nickname for an outfielder ever. Skates.
2-2. Front door breaking ball. Gambolino took a look at it. A while. Another long count for Tanner Roark.
Small strike zone tonight. Both ways.
Beckham to center. Ben Revere drifting with it. And Gordon Beckham is 0 for his last 18.
Well, that's a good one. Going to be a good one. Both parks. Nats Park, August 24th and 25th. Beltway Series presented by Innova. Watch Nats O's renew their rivalry. Going to be a fantastic 4-game set, I think. The talk of baseball for sure. Don't forget to wear red. Visit nationals.com/tickets for more info.
Right now we're looking at Steven Strasburg and Dylan Bundy on Monday. Max Scherzer tomorrow night here. Gio on Sunday. It's a great fastball to the outside edge on the rookie. Dansby Swanson had his first 0 in the big leagues last night. 2 strikeouts, 2 pop-ups to second. So as a big leaguer, he's 2 for 8. Tanner still trying that inside edge. Hard to believe Swanson drafted by Arizona just 14 months ago. Off speed, check swing, great pitch. Roark to Robinson, 2 down. And a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one on a Friday night, look forward to Miller time. Later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. You know that soft contact thing we talked about?
23.1% hard hit rate leads Major League Baseball, yes.
And I have them 0 for 6 tonight in that department. A walk and a strikeout, but the other 6 balls not hit hard. Here's the pitcher, Julio Teheran. He can swing it. 144 career hitter, 6 hits this year.
How do they determine that? Is there some like 45-year-old in his mom's basement that sits there and watches a game and goes, I don't think that one's hit very hard?
Well, I wonder is there a hit speed that's the line of demarcation there?
Mom, that one's hit hard. I mean, how do they do this? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there has to be a hit speed.
It's got, unless it's totally subjective, there's got to be some hit speed that is a divider, or maybe a 5 or 10 mile an hour gray area in there somewhere.
Boy, I just stuck a stick in a hornet's nest with all the analytic people out there.
It's your phone, not mine. 1-2. Great pitch, slider low and away. 3 innings, 9 batters, 10 a walk, the only blemish so far.
Dominion National providing innovative high-value dental and vision benefits to area employers and individuals. Smile! It's Friday. Yes, sir. Smile.
Yeah, it's smiling time when you're 71-49. That's what the Nats are. We go to the middle innings here. Honda due up. Ramos, Worth, Rendon. So Wilson just a continued consistent streak of success all year. Jason Worth hitting well, on base percentage out of this world right now over that stretch. And then there's Anthony Rendon, even with an out tonight. He's still hitting quite well. Ryan Zimmerman will be back sometime this weekend.
Good to see him in the clubhouse today.
It's not often you get to connect in Toledo to get to Atlanta. Oh, Ramos just plugged the gap in left center. 40 extra base hits for Wilson now. 21 doubles, 19 home runs. Hitting over .330 on the road now. And he's hit safely 11 of his last 13 games. Julio Teheran can snap off some breaking balls. We've seen everything from 72 to 78 or 9. Bryce got him for an RBI ground ball. Then he got Bryce on a fly. Ramos reaching, and it's unreachable. Third K for the 25-year-old Atlanta starter. Let's go inside the numbers, brought to you by PNC. Total domination by the Nats. 23-5. Home runs almost 3-1. Average with runners in scoring position plus 50 points. Errors 13 fewer. ERA no contest. 9-1 this year. The Nats have won all 3 at Turner Field.
Since the start of the 2015 season, they've outscored the Braves 165 to 86.
Wow. Hey. 1-1. So it looks like when right-handers are up there, the strikes are the outer edge or slightly beyond. Nothing much inside for either pitcher so far. From Dan Bellino.
That's Jason's turbo zone right there. He wants that one back. You saw the frustration after the swing. That's the one he hits about 460 feet in Colorado, something like that. Right in the turbo zone.
Worth is 0 for 2 with strikeouts against Tehran. Julio, 4th K of the night.
Jason asked if it was a strike, but it had the late giddy up on it, and it was a borderline pitch. He had to commit, and like you said, and I think it's very accurate. Bellino's seeing the right side of the plate better than left side, his right side.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Anthony Rendon. Popped up to Freddie Freeman first time.
I think it's a warm night in Baltimore tonight. I didn't check the temperature, but 7-7 in the 5th.
Well, 40 miles down the road, it's 81 in D.C.
It's not that hot.
A beautiful 75 here right now. Two-0 breaking ball right in there. Another breaking ball, and Rendon pops this one up. Freddie Freeman again, this time a foul ball. That's it for the Nats in the top of the 4th inning. Brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid all-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com tonight.
Tanner Roark's career path by now. Won 15 games 2 years ago, then was relegated to the bullpen last year, and now he has the top ERA of any starter in the Nationals rotation. I asked Tanner yesterday whether he feels any redemption this year. He said, yeah, it definitely feels good, and he totally understood the Nats signing Max Scherzer last year and made the team better, but he admits that being bumped to the bullpen, as he put it, left a fire in his belly. He said, I love starting, that's where I'm at my best. And so he came into this spring with a mindset that he was a starter and he wasn't going to let anybody take his spot. He trained hard, he prepared hard, and Tanner's a firm believer that hard work pays off, and guys, it really has for him.
Yeah, what a great outlook on that situation. Never said a word last year. We all knew that he wanted to be in that top 5. Now he's back. Every bit of his success so well deserved. Up and in with an 0-2 pitch to Ender Inciarte.
You know, I'm coming around to a lot of the analytics stuff, and I love when it kind of matches what you're seeing with your eyes, and I think a combination of scouting and that is good. But there's a lot of intangibles with the guy you're looking at.
And there's the first Atlanta hit of the night. Ball had some run back out over the plate, and Inciarte now 5 out of 10 career against Tanner Roark.
That's stuff you can't measure with a radar gun or anything else. It's just competing, and I think he does it as well as anybody in baseball. And really, when there's runners in scoring position, how he turns it up a notch. There's the first Braves knock, Inciarte, a guy who has some ownage on Tanner.
Chase Darno next. He hit a ball to Danny Espinosa, first time up. Inciarte 11 for 15 this year. There's Chase Darno, the older brother of Travis. Chase is 29, Travis 27. Finished last year with the Phillies. His big league time with the Pirates before that. Roark gets a strike on that inside edge, elevated a bit. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Wilson Ramos stayed with this one and pulled it down a little bit. Good frame.
So that base hit by Inciarte, really the first sharply hit ball by the Braves. It took them till their leadoff man in the 4th inning to do that. Runner on the move, and Roark took that long pause again.
Well, it was a hit and run all the way. Did you see Chase Darno kind of try to hit the hole with the swing? Went inside out right there. Ryan Snitker trying to go first to third with a hit and run. He had the whole right side.
Yeah, got to generate some offense wherever you can when you're last in the big leagues in runs. Braves have been outscored by 152 runs this year.
So 1-1's a good hit and run count because you're figuring the pitcher doesn't want to fall behind 2-1. He's going to throw a strike, so you see a lot of hit and runs 1-1. 1-2 on the other hand is a good straight steal count because if you're a runner you're thinking this might be off speed, but with Roark his 2 strike picks is that front hip sinker. We'll see.
Started the bat, evidently able to stop it. Counts even 2-2. Not missing by much with any of these.
But it's a hitter strike zone tonight for sure, both ways. It's not just Tanner. Really, Tehran's throwing some borderline pitches. I'd say Tanner's taking the brunt of it more. But yeah, it's a good night to be a hitter with Dan Bellino back there.
So a full count, nobody out. Freddie Freeman on deck. Runner goes. This one hit well out of play.
Peanuts are at the Fitz for a 3-game weekend homestand. Highlights include Gio Gonzalez and Dog. Stitch bobblehead giveaway to the first 1,500 fans. Scout night. A lot of scouts will be there to see if guys are ready for the big leagues. To join the party at the Fitz, call the number on your screen or go to the website. So Gio and his dog Stitch. Proofreading is always good before the promos.
3-2. I thought I just saw Gio a little while ago here. Short lead. A hold. Runner goes. Pitch is a strike. It's another strikeout, throw out, double play. The Braves, Tyler Flowers and Chase Darno, have taken called third strikes with a runner on the move.
You know, part of a responsibility as a hitter in a 3-2 count, and you know the runner's going, you see the sign, is to swing at strikes near strikes. Oftentimes you'll expand your strike zone just because the steal is on as a hitter to protect him. And I think Tanner might have got a break on that pitch. That looked down to me. He'll take it, and Inciarte easily out at second base.
Boy, and you are really hurting yourself when you just have two guys erased like that with Freddie Freeman coming up. Breaking ball. Freeman out ahead of it, over the top of it, counts even, 1-1.
Maybe Wilson Ramos coming out of the chute blocked off Dan Bellino, and that's how he got the called third.
So it can help, huh?
Yeah, a lot of times catchers will wait around for the call, then throw. Wilson popped out of there and blocked him off. That ball might have been down. Decent jump by Inciarte. You see him look in. But Tanner was real quick to the plate. I think he went slide step right there, so it gave Wilson a chance.
And that's a pretty good base stealer, and that was not close. 1-2. Freeman, a high drive to right center. Harper and Revere after it. And Revere has it. Top of the wall.
Are you kidding me?
Looked like it was out of the ball yard. And Ben Revere amazes us.
He's getting a standing ovation from
with another catch.
Braves fans right now. Excuse me, Carp. They're all standing on their feet here at Turner Field. Excuse me. Watch this one more time. Another circus catch. Another freakish circus catch by Ben Revere. Unbelievable, taking a home run away from Freddie Freeman. He told me he used to dunk in high school. He said his vertical is over 40. You can see right there Ben Revere with an amazing play. like that in recent memory. I mean, the guy's 5'9".
Wall's 8 foot out there.
Otis Nixon used to make plays like that in this ballpark, but he was, what, 6'3"?
Yeah. That was awesome. Here we go, top of the 5th, Clint Robinson. First pitch changeup misses. Well, you put that together with some of the plays Ben Revere made on the homestand.
That was the best. The other ones may be just a hair more meaningful, but this is a 1-0 game in the 5th, so I don't even know if I could say that.
You have to be fearless to make that play.
The one against Madison Bumgarner was with Tanner Roark on the mound. You remember that preserved that win for Tanner, 1-0. He likes to play center when Tanner's pitching. Don't sleep on that play. That might have been one of the best of the year.
Then Robinson hits it hard, breaking ball down and in, foul, 2-2.
We'll show it to you again when we get a chance.
Ben Revere loves to chat. We know that. And he's entitled to every word of it right now.
You know what that takes? It takes a lot of ability, but it takes being fearless. A lot of outfielders will shy away from the fence and center going that fast. Ben Revere is fearless. Here's one look at it. We'll show it to you probably about 40 more times tonight, because why not? You know Bryce is sitting there going, oh! Great call too, by the way, partner.
Thank you. Clint Robinson skies one deep to right. Markakis. And he'll pull one back in without really having to jump too high. I mean, he was waiting for that one. Nothing leaving the yard in the launching pad right now.
He just took a home run away from Clint Robinson. Watch this. He goes over the wall. Julio Teheran was going nuts on the mound. Watch this. That's a homer. Not quite Ben Revere full speed with a 40-inch vertical, but some leather being thrown around by outfielders in this one all of a sudden.
Here's Danny Espinosa. Perfect fastball to the outside edge.
Revere talked about that one against the Giants. He said, you know, he was a receiver in high school. That's what it reminded him of. But that was being a receiver in high school and going across the middle with a big bad safety coming at you. And the safety was the wall.
Well, that's the hardest a gnat's gone into the wall in this ballpark since Steven Souza Jr. a couple of years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
He took on the right center field wall. Ben Revere conquered the wall in front of the bleachers. Nasty breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tight ball game. Nats would love Danny Espinosa on. Tanner Roark can handle the bat. Every 90 feet big here, middle of the ball game. Clint Robinson had a long at bat. Danny 3-2, so he's thrown 11 pitches. Teheran has this inning already. Good take, good at bat. Nats have their second walk of the night. Clint Robinson back in the second. So here's Tanner.
So it gets you back to that catch. Here is another angle. Look at the concentration, the head still. And then leaving your feet so there's not a huge collision. But look at the hops by Ben Revere. That's the most amazing part about it. He didn't even stick a cleat in the fence to prop him up. That was all Ben Revere and his leaping ability. Wow.
Roark takes a 65-mile-an-hour breaking ball for strike one. He has 4 sacrifice bunts this year. Got a hitter locked in right behind him. This is big. It's been a while since Danny has stolen some bags. Hasn't been on enough lately. He is 7 of 8 this year. Espinosa took about 4 steps towards second, stopped, and then Tanner pulled the trigger. 0-2.
Well, Freddie Freeman vacated for the bunt, and once he left, Danny Espinosa went with him. Some teams will have that up and back play where the first baseman acts like he's charging for the bunt, then comes back. But I don't know that the Braves do that.
Roark appears committed to the bunt on 0-2. Lays off the high pitch. There he goes. Swinging a foul. Roark able to stay alive, or did he swing and miss? They're chasing the ball like he did swing and miss, so he will walk back to the dugout. But Danny Espinosa gets a steal of second.
Well, mission accomplished however he got it done. Good jump by Danny. I thought he fouled it off too.
That had that kind of action coming off the dirt. Trey Turner has doubled, scored, and singled. Batting average at .323. On base percentage now back up in the .345 range. Left side, deep short. He's flying to first, and it's a base hit. Swanson couldn't come up with it cleanly, and I'm not sure it would have made a difference. First and third, 2 outs.
Might have been a blessing in disguise for the Braves, because if Swanson decides to throw that across the infield, Espinosa was thinking about scoring. The play's taken a long time to develop. And then the bobble. There's no way. I mean, I don't even think Simmons throws out Trey Turner on that one.
All right, Tehran says, all right, ball's on the infield. Nobody scored. Now he takes on Ben Revere. Sacrifice bunt and a fly ball to left. Ruled a hit all the way. Nats have 4 on the night. Turner 3 of them. How about that? First, third, fifth innings. Base hits.
Last 8 games, Trey 17 for his last 40.
Not a big lead. And Revere's going to drop one into right field. Nationals lead 2-0. Revere prevents a run, then drives one in for Ben. 23rd RBI of the year. And the walk by Espinosa comes back to haunt the Braves.
Well, you know what they say, make a great play, come up with 2 outs and drive somebody in the next inning. They don't say that, but I just made that up. But Ben Revere having a nice night. +2, right?
Yeah.
Based on what you just said, took one away, drove one in.
Well, the top of the lineup tonight is 4 for 5 with a sacrifice. First 2 guys. So here's Bryce, 0 for 2, RBI ground ball. And he could open up a big margin for Tanner Roark and the Nationals in the middle of this game.
Yeah, don't forget about Ben's sacrifice bunt, too. First time up, having a nice night.
Bryce in swing mode, left field. Long way for everybody to go. Off the glove of Swanson. Scoring is Turner. Revere to third. Harper to first. It's 3-0.
Not knocking the cover off the ball, but they all count. Hands in the right place. Inside out swing. Good effort by Dansby Swanson. Selling out here. Just can't hang on to it. Turner scores. Espinosa to third. Hit him right in the heel. I think he kind of misstepped that and had a dive at the end. That looked weird at the end, didn't it? Almost like he could have caught that standing up. I thought he was going to get there. He had a good route to it. He was flying. But Bryce Harper will take the hit and the RBI. 3-0 Nats.
Yeah, 3 2-out hits. Next up, Wilson Ramos, 1 for 2 with a double. You got Wilson with those breaking balls away last time up. A ton of hitting room through the right side of the infield with Beckham playing so far up the middle.
Yeah, the Braves have done this to the Nats all season long with Wilson hitting. They've played him to pull, and he's had a number of hits right where the second baseman usually stands. I remember on opening day or that first series of the year they were like this, and he got a hit right through there.
Not biting on that one. Counts even, 1-1. Started this inning with 59 pitches. Retired the first man, Robinson, on the catch at the wall by Markakis. He walked Danny Espinosa before Roark struck out. Up and in to Wilson Ramos, ball 2. Ramos this year hitting .343 with runners in scoring position. Madison Youngener throwing for the Braves. They have a 9-man bullpen.
He knew he was going to go slider away after throwing that fastball up and in. Good pitch. Rushed him back, then slider away.
In the dirt. Count goes full. Harper will get a head start. Wilson Ramos, 1 homer from 20, 3 RBIs from 70. Mr. on base waiting. Ball might have been backing up a little bit up and in.
Started my stopwatch late. That was 33 seconds between pitches.
Ooh, the commissioner's not going to like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I will start right now, 3-2, 2 outs, but we'll talk about that.
But if they can enforce that. Ramos takes the fastball away and the bases are loaded. And based on his last AB and the way Tehran's been pitching, and that's a heck of an at bat by the Nationals catcher.
But watch Wilson stop. He wasn't sure. Is it a strike, ball? And then he just stops and throws his bat back to the dugout. So a borderline pitch goes Wilson's way, and Jason Worth has a chance to do some damage here with the bags loaded and 2 outs.
Yeah, he's got a chance at history and a chance to really influence the rest of this game. Tehran has struck him out twice. Jason 5 for 31 career against him. All that matters is this at bat right now. Yeah, mumbling a little bit after this one.
Yeah, everything's been away to him all night. Yeah, he thought that was down. It was.
Flowers really pulled that thing up. Oh, 2 now.
For some reason, Jason doesn't seem to be picking up that Tehran fastball so far tonight. And he's been hitting that pitch well.
Worth left side. Swanson the short way. The Nats will pick up 2 runs. RBI hits by Revere and Harper, and it's 3-0. And may not be reproduced. And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals.
A lot of Nats fans here at Turner Field making the trip down for the weekend. There's more red in the stands than there is blue. 3-0. Calling all Terps and Hoyas, Tuesday, September 13th, College Rivalry Day. We are going to turn Nats Park into a huge frat house. The purchase of a special ticket, enjoy pregame activities, and get a reusable Nationals acrylic cup in your school's color. Visit nationals.com/College Rivalry Day for tickets.
Yeah, rocking the red here in the deep south tonight. Bottom of the 5th inning. Kemp, Markakis, and Flowers. Tanner Roark, ball one, 59th pitch. Away again. Kemp. And it's off the glove of Anthony Rendon. Braves will have their second base hit.
No way of knowing that Danny Espinosa was right behind him. As a third baseman, you have to go for anything you can get to going to your left. It's a little out of his reach.
Nick Markakis walked first time. Was caught stealing on the back end of a strikeout throwout double play. The first of 2 for Tanner tonight. Counts even.
So Carp, Tanner works quick, right? 21.5 seconds between pitches right there.
So there's no way they're going to enforce a 20-second rule.
Julio Teheran was 48.2 on his last pitch. And Mark Burley was one of the fastest ever, and he was right around 17 seconds, 15, 17, something like that.
Markakis gets jammed. Pop fly, short right center. Ben Revere there. 1 out.
So I guess my point is I'm all for speeding up pace of play, but you know, there's times where you have to slow it down as a pitcher, right? Kind of regather and regroup yourself, and there's a clock telling you when to pitch and rushing you. I don't know how that's going to go over.
Not 20 seconds. If Tanner Roark's at 20 seconds, that means that about 99% of big league pitchers are slower than that.
Right.
That's the in-between innings clock. It gets everybody back on the field, and PA announcers announcing the upcoming leadoff hitter after 90 seconds.
What if you're at first base and it's at 18? Do you just take off?
I don't know.
I understand the thinking, though. I just don't know. I just don't think the commissioner watches our broadcast enough, because I've had a bunch of awesome rules that I think should be implemented.
Three and 0.
10 throwovers per game. 4 trips to the mound as a catcher. Take a defender off every inning in extra innings. So you're playing with just a pitcher and a catcher in like the 16th.
What's after that? Penalty kicks?
once a week let Lions go on the field on a Wednesday day game. Spice it up.
3-1. Roark gets a double play ball. Espinosa, Turner, 6-4-3, third double play of the night. First on the ground by Mr. Double Play himself, Tanner Roark. 5 innings of work, only 2 hits for the Braves. Cubs have some aches and pains. John Lackey's shoulder. Hector Rondon with his triceps going on the disabled list. And Jake Arrieta's been a little ineffective lately as well. Clayton Kershaw, they're in Cincinnati, expected to throw a bullpen today. He's been throwing off flat ground a bit. And the Milwaukee Brewers will start a left-handed pitcher for the first time in forever. August 2013. They have a starter, Junior Guerra, on the DL, so they bring in a left-hander, Brent Suter, 26 years of age. Same high school as Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, they don't let lefties in the border of Wisconsin. They still let them in.
Is it something about serving cheese left-handed? I don't know what's the deal. So here's our UPS store call to the bullpen. And it's for the Atlanta reliever, Matt Youngiter, who takes over here tonight.
There's the Arsenal. Nats saw him at Nats Park about a week ago. Fastball 94, curveball 80, changeup 86. He's got a little funk in his delivery. Opponent's hitting 348 against him, though.
So Julio Teheran just off the disabled list, pulled after 90 pitches. 3 runs on 6 hits, walked 3, struck out 4. Not a bad outing for him in his return. By the way, at the UPS store, there's nothing we can't solve. Visit the upsstore.com for locations. Anthony Rendon, a pop-up twice. 1 fair, 1 foul to Freddie Freeman. Back a breaking ball that almost hit him, and it didn't look like the hitter was shying away from it too much. Rendon, first time against Youngiter, who faced 5 Nationals in the series last week. Another one up and in. Nationals box score, top of the order. How about Turner? 2 runs, 3 hits, a sacrifice, an RBI hit, spectacular play, maybe the play of the year in the outfield for the Nats by Ben Revere. And then Bryce Harper is driven in 2 with a ground ball and a fly ball that fell in. Rendon will line one out to center. So he is 1 for 3 tonight for Anthony, first hit of this series.
And fastball up, hands inside. Bent arm swing for a base hit. Anthony Rendon checking in with his first knock.
Glenn Robinson 1 for 1 against Youngner last weekend. Within a foot or two of a home run last time with that drive to the right field wall.
So remember, Revere had that catch against Cleveland, right, to preserve the no-hitter. The one against San Francisco, basically to win the game. Brandon Belt hit that one, and the one here tonight. Which one do you think is the best?
I like tonight's. Full speed, wall approaching, home run about to leave the yard, but hold on. Ball 1 to Robinson.
I think I have to agree with you. Even though the Bumgarner one might have been more important, tonight's was better just from a pure athletic ability.
Low, 2-1. It's not raining, Ben. I think we're okay.
A lot of bugs here, though.
Three and one. Youngkin, originally drafted by the Red Sox in their organization for a number of years. Braves signed him as a free agent. He's from Augusta originally. Glenn Robinson is on for the second time. Nationals building an inning here, approaching the bottom of the order with Espinosa, then Roark. Danny Espinosa, a strikeout, a walk, a steal, a run.
Something he can drive right here in a 1-0 count. It's been a while since he's hit one.
Tapper over the mound. They'll be lucky to get one out of this. They don't. The ball gets away. Scoring is Rendon. To third is Robinson. And Danny Espinosa safe at first. They're going to give Danny an infield hit, and then they're going to give Swanson his first big league error for the throw that got away.
Well, Swanson was in between. Do I wait for the ball and step on second base, or do I go across and field it? And that, you didn't see the hesitation there, but he waited for a second before he went for that ball because he was thinking about the force at second. That allowed Espinosa to get down the line and beat it out for a hit. Watch top of your screen. There's a little hesitation right there. He's going to wait for the bag. No. And then he goes and gets it. It's too late because Danny can run. When you rush guys through the minors that have talent, you have to deal with some hiccups early in their career.
Yeah, and then you're talking about the most demanding position on the field. Look at Tanner Roark give with that pitch, and he will sacrifice Espinosa to second with Clint Robinson staying at third. The Nats are on their game tonight.
I'll tell you what, and everybody that's rushed through the minor leagues or even come from the minor leagues to the big leagues, Carp, the game moves so much faster here, way faster. You know, in college and in the minor leagues, you can hesitate on a ground ball just for a click, still come up and get it and throw and get a guy. But here, you know, a lot of guys are faster. The game moves faster, and I think Dansby Swanson's finding that out.
Well, here's Trey Turner. That ball gets away, but Clint Robinson staying at third. Tyler Flowers pouncing pretty quickly. But to be kind of honest about the whole thing, the Braves defense in these two games has been very shaky. 2 errors last night, hitting batters, couple of pass balls. Matt Kemp dropped that fly ball that gave the Nats an early 2-0 lead. The ball hit by Rendon.
Thanks, being honest, calling what you're seeing.
Turner 3 for 3, infield in. To the left of the shortstop, that'll score a run. Swanson makes a good play. 2 outs. Trey Turner has 17 RBIs. Then Robinson home.
Well, you always like to see what a young player does after he makes an error, and Dansby Swanson just made a really nice play. So Trey Turner will take the RBI and make it a 5-0 Nats lead. But look at Swanson just laying out, getting to his feet, getting rid of it, and taking Trey Turner's 4th hit of the day away.
Ben Revere now with the runner at second. Danny Espinosa. He's had a good night. Sacrifice, RBI hit, spectacular play. First 2 guys in the Nats order batting for the 4th time, and we're in the 6th inning. Tapper right side. Pitcher doesn't get it. Might be a hit. Revere into first base safely. Espinosa to third. And the Nats are just kind of running wild right now.
Hey, Ben Revere's hitting his share of bad luck this year. He'll take it. Having a real nice night. Sacrifice bunt, great play, couple of hits. And you're wondering if Danny Espinosa was thinking about scoring here from second base. Good hustle by Ben Revere, spelling a hit, getting down the line. Everything falling for the Nats here tonight. Everything.
Here's Bryce Harper, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. He's not crushing the ball all over the place yet, but Bryce has collected runs batted in on this road trip. He drove in 4 in Colorado. 2 here tonight. And that Tapper, that is the shortstop, Swanson over there. He had a busy inning. The Nats will pick up 2 runs. After 5.5, it's all Nationals. Have a night, Ben Revere. Have a night right in front of him, Trey Turner. The guys with the wheels running all over Atlanta right now. We're going bottom 6, 5-0.
Those two guys put a lot of pressure on defenses 1-2 in the order, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like when they're at the top of the order recently, that's been Dusty Baker's best lineup.
Roark, a strike to Gordon Beckham.
So I was thinking during the break, and maybe Nats fans can help me on Twitter with this. Obviously, Souza's catch, the best catch in Nats history.
To preserve the no-hitter.
Roger Bernardina in Houston going around the corner. You remember that one? To preserve the win?
Last play of the game.
Tyler Clippard on the mound.
Craig Stammen, cheerleader in the bullpen.
Yeah, great shot. And I think tonight, number 3. I don't know. You've been here longer than me, and Nats fans have seen more games than I have. But since I've been here, that's how I'm ranking it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember Denard having one totally moving away from the infield out there in deep center field.
Yeah, made a bobblehead of it, right?
They did.
I think it was against the Giants to end the game. Tied for 3rd with this one tonight? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Just throwing it out there.
So Tanner Roark keeps rolling along. He'll face Dansby Swanson here. Thanks to 3 double play balls. Actually 1 double play ball, 2 strikeout double plays. Tanner Roark has still faced the minimum number of hitters in this one. So the Braves box score pretty empty. Walk by Markakis in the 2nd, double play. Single by Inciarte in the 4th, double play. Single by Kemp in the 5th, double play. And that breaking ball had some drop on it. Right-hander Chaz Rowe next for the Braves. That's because Chase Peterson will be hitting for Madison Youngener in just a moment. Challenge fastball. He's late for it.
I think the corner tap in Wilmington, Illinois lost their minds on the Ben Revere catch.
Well, most starts with 7 innings pitched and 1 earned run or fewer allowed this year. Tanner Roark and Max Scherzer representing the Nats, and all that's left is John Lester of the Cubs on our Jeep inside the numbers. Pretty good pitch. It was a strike. Bryce Harper right there to grab the line drive. 2 outs, 6th inning. Jace Peterson next. Peterson in a bit of a skid, 0 for his last 9. So they gave Gordon Beckham batting .217 to start at second base tonight. Peterson against Roark career 1 for 13. Tanner working quickly right now. Yeah, so there's that matchup. 4 strikeouts among those 13 at bats. Two 1 off speed missed. Just a little bit up and away. Second walk tonight. That'll bring in Ender Inciarte. Marlins are having a close game at Pittsburgh tonight. Pirates just tied at bottom of the 7th, 3-all. Pittsburgh still fighting for the wild card. They're only one game behind St. Louis for that second wild card spot. Right now, whoever is in second place in the West is the wild card leader. Looking at the standings the other day, it's kind of weird. If you win the West, you probably start the playoffs on the road. If you're from the West and you're the wild card, you probably get to play at home that one game.
Yeah, the Nats with the second biggest lead in the division. Cubs have the biggest one, 13 games. Nats 9.5.
Yeah, and the Cubs are at Colorado this weekend.
Yeah,
right in the middle of some pitching issues of their own.
Good luck with that. That team can hit.
The way you win out there is getting the first 4 batters out every time when you got a shot.
The way you win out there is getting on the plane and leaving. I don't think you take a series there seriously. You either win it or lose it, and either way it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, as a hitter, you go in there to get your average up. You hope you win the game.
Make sure you have all your gear when you leave town. That ball is hit hard to right, and it's going to leave the yard. A 2-out walk leads to an Inciarte home run. He's now 6 for 11 career against Tanner Roark, and suddenly a 5-2 game.
Well, line out to center, a walk, and then a 2-run homer makes this a 3-run game all of a sudden. And pretty good swing by Ender Inciarte. 86 pitches by Tanner, and really hasn't had any trouble tonight until just right there.
First home run by either team in the series. Chase Darno is next. And if he gets on, Atlanta really gets excited with Freddie Freeman next. So Tanner Roark just trying to get out of the 6th inning and move along. Holds on too long, 2-0. Terry Pendleton at MVP as a player. Well, you can't walk Darno on 4 pitches with Freeman coming up. But he did. Mike Maddox will come out and pay a visit.
Who knows, maybe pitching in 107-degree heat index is catching up with him right here, right now in his last start. You never know. Looks like he might be hitting the wall. One thing you do know, he's going to give you everything that's in the tank. No doubt about that. Someone's mentioning Jason Worth's catch. Remember in the playoffs in St. Louis when he robbed the home run? That was a good one.
You're right.
Give him 4th. He's not going to like that, but sorry. Top 5. It's good.
So the ballpark comes alive here in Atlanta. Freddie Freeman with a man aboard, 5-2 game. Kemp on deck. Tanner missing consistently over and low.
The low's better than high to this guy, but you do have to locate it.
Off speed. That's a great pitch. Jason Worth. Nats out of the inning. Tanner bends, does not break, and this one into the 7th inning with a 3-run lead. From 5-0 to 5-2 with one swing. We're going to the top of the 7th. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donating $250 to the Children's National Health System every time a Nat hits a home run. It's for a great cause. It's all brought to you by Lexus. The pursuit of perfection.
I see the arsenal of Chaz Rowe. Fastball 92, slider 84. That's pretty much it. 15th appearance. 16 strikeouts, 9 walks, 237 average against, 9 walks. Jason Worth might be his last time up. We'll see.
Well, you are the visiting team, so you will bat in the 9th no matter what happens, and we'll see how that all shakes out. Ramos, Worth, Rendon against Chaz Rowe. 29-year-old right-hander, 6th appearance of the year, 6 hits, no runs in 5 1/3. Ramos 2 for 2 career against him, both home runs. Those were his Atlanta numbers. He appeared 9 games before that with the Orioles. Front door breaking ball stays inside. Braves picked him up from Baltimore 12 days ago, a waiver claim. Up and in, 3-0. The worst thing he could do would be to walk the leadoff guy right after his team scored some runs. Wilson Ramos trying to pump one out of here on a 3-0 pitch. Right in there, counts full. How about that? 2 for 2, 4 RBIs on a couple of swings. Pirates have taken a 5-3 lead over Miami in the 7th. Pittsburgh sat down Andrew McCutchen for a couple of days. He's come back, and it's a team that still has a lot of hopes of making the playoffs. Bucks have been there, done that when it comes to the wild card over the last few years. (3-2), and I don't know how he reached it, but Wilson did to stay alive.
Follow the Nats all season long with MLB.com at bat. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, and StatCast. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. And the Pirates are 14 out. It's going to have to be the wild card, obviously, in that division.
Ramos a swing and a miss. Braves continue to drop breaking stuff down and away to him. So here comes at bat number 4 for Jason Worth as he tries to set the franchise record. As far as getting on base, 46 games and holding.
He's already got the single season record.
True.
Think he's thinking about it?
He's thinking about getting on base. I don't know about the record, but he wants to contribute here.
I think he is.
And he's got some bend on that curve.
He's had a quick bat tonight, but the Braves have thrown everything away to him, mostly. And he's been trying to pull it.
It's a fastball that Worth stays with. And well out of play down the right side.
I just think if it's going to end, it has to be on a 3-2 pitch. I mean, there's been so many 3-2 counts in this whole 46-game on base streak that started on June 20th against the Dodgers. June 20th. He's been on base every game since June 20th.
Yeah, tomorrow it'll be August 20th. Worth taps it foul.
Grinding.
Two Nationals, top of the 7th, 1 out.
Fighting.
Easton will try to show you where everything is here. Below the belt. Most of it away. Now they want to pitch up. And they get the fastball. They strike out Jason. Worth down on strikes for the 3rd time. Maybe a chance in the 9th.
I have to get a few guys on to get there, but Rowe with a high fastball, and that's where they've been going, 2 strikes. Tyler Flowers has been doing that to Jason all night. Right up in his eyes, can't get on top. We'll see if he gets another chance.
Anthony Rendon 1 for 3, got the Nats 2-run rally started. Last inning with a leadoff hit out to center.
You know, maybe early on in that streak there was some where we weren't paying attention to that he did in his last at bat. I don't remember him coming down to the wire. It seems like he sealed the deal early in the game this whole streak. Either first or second at bat, he's been on base. At least since we've been paying attention to it.
And this guy's got a curveball. It reminds me of Greg Olson or Dave Stieb, the way that thing just sharply goes away. Fastball up, and that's way upstairs. Fastball away, and Rose strikes out the side. Boy, that Baltimore bullpen must really be good if he got put on waivers. .91 pitches as the bottom of the seventh gets underway. 4, 5, 6. Kemp, Markakis, and Flowers. Limiting the Braves to 2 runs on 3 hits. Kemp can't get to the high fastball. Base it off the glove of Anthony Rendon last time. First time up, fly ball to Bryce Harper. So Tanner has already gone at least 6 for the 21st time this year.
And the 55th time in 72 career starts. How about that?
Blake Trinan's impressed with that. Means he and his buddies don't have to pitch too early. Kemp will line one long to left. And Worth playing deep, able to get back onto the track to grab it.
Some Geico highlights for you. Show you some double plays. You can't outrun a buffalo. They run at speeds up to 40 miles an hour. So a strike them out, throw them out, double play once. And another throw right on the back from Wilson Ramos. Tanner Roark with a point. And then the conventional 6-4-3 double play. Yeah, don't take for granted those perfect throws by Wilson Ramos on both of those steals right on the bag.
First time Ramos has thrown out 2 runners in 1 game this year. Wilson's got a percentage up around 34% on the air.
Did you know buffaloes can run 40 miles an hour?
I did not know.
I looked that up during the break.
That must have been coming down from a mesa. Here's Markakis.
They get going, man. They just can't stop.
Exactly.
Bad breaks.
No, they once started in Kansas. It didn't stop until they got to Denver.
Stampede.
Up and into Markakis, spins him out. Nick 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. Left-hander, former Nat Ian Kroll. Beauty. Slowing down everything with the curveball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. '99 pitches in the heat at home last week. And that 99th pitch fouled off.
Start leaning on that curveball a little bit more. It was pitch number 100, or pitch number 100 coming, excuse me.
Markakis well foul. Turned around that 92 pretty well. If you're ready to win, follow at Masson Nationals on Twitter. Look for our latest retweet contest. You could win an autograph. Mike Rizzo baseball Nats prize pack at Masson Nationals on Twitter to enter. Brought to you by Cox Communications. New Contour. Get right to the good stuff. High riding fastball fouled back.
Like a Nats yard sale.
Curveball. Markakis hits one way out of here. And the Braves, who have the fewest home runs in baseball, have hit one 2 innings in a row. It's now 5-3. Markakis is 9th.
Tanner's been on fumes for 2 innings now. He's been leaning on the curveball. This time he just left it too high, and Markakis, who was letting it rip the whole at bat, finally got one up in the zone. Good effort by the fan. And a nice effort by Tanner Roark here tonight.
He'll give up only 4 hits, 3 runs through 6 1/3, 3 walks, couple of strikeouts. Scherzer, rookie Tyrell Jenkins. Max 12-7. Gio looking to go 9-9 when he takes on Joel De La Cruz here on Sunday. Then it's on to Baltimore for 2. The Orioles will come to Nationals Park Wednesday for the first of 2 in our yard. Nats extra before and after every game. So for Tanner Roark, a rare instance where he does not go 7, but he battles with everything he had tonight.
Yeah, he was gassed in the 6th, started the 7th, gave up the homer, and now he hands it over to Blake Trinan. He'll come in and throw his 2-seam fastball, mid-90s slider combination, try to keep this a 2-run game. And how big is that Ben Revere catch looking right now?
Large. So Blake sporting that 1.99 ERA. First up against him, Tyler Flowers, 0 for 1 against Blake. 55th game. His forte, keeping the ball down. Flowers has struck out into a double play and grounded into one tonight. Ball 1.
If he hits into a double play right now, we will be the lead story on every broadcast, sports news broadcast across the country.
There's that amazing sinker. It's there and then it's not.
And it's mid-90s too. Watch this, right under his hands. When he's got a feel for it, and he starts it on the inner third or even right down the middle and runs in on righties. Really doesn't need to throw anything else. He might go slider here though. Nope.
Into the 10 o'clock hour, here we go. 30,292 at Turner Field tonight. They got some fireworks after the game, so a big crowd here. One-two with 1 out. Tried that slider, it just missed.
Pretty close, huh?
And that's where the strikes were earlier tonight. It's impossible to hit that ball fair. That thing are really boring in. Swing and a miss. First batter retired.
But 4-seam fastball. Watch how straight this is. He just powered it by Tyler Flowers. 97 miles an hour. I like it. Going right after hitters. Nicely done.
So here's Gordon Beckham. Still in the ball game, now playing third base after that double switch. They moved him over. And looks like Blake Trinan's harnessing all this power and stuff that we've seen for the last year or two. But he goes 3-0 right there. And the rookie Dansby Swanson is waiting. Bouncer up the middle, well placed. Turner makes a great play. Out is the call at first. Trey Turner ranging to his right. The Nats are all leaving the field. The Atlanta dugout will surely take a look.
I'll tell you what, safe or out, that's one heck of a play by Trey Turner to make it that close. I thought he was safe. But what a play by Turner. I'm thinking, put this in your pocket, don't even throw it. Beckham can run. Look how far he goes to get this ball, and then the jump throw with something on it.
Ooh. There is no challenge, man. This inning is over.
What a play by Trey Turner. We have seen some amazing defense here tonight in Atlanta by the Nationals. Unbelievable play by Turner. Miller time brought to you by Miller Lite. Oh my goodness, with the web gems here tonight. Where do we start? Let's start with Ben Revere first. Going a long way to rob Freddie Freeman of a home run. It would be a 5-4 game right now if it wasn't for that amazing catch. Quite possibly the catch of the year. Bryce Harper, Ben Revere celebrating. Then how about this? Right over the bag, going to the shortstop side and throwing across his body with that much on it. Oh my goodness. Two beauties here tonight. We got to see a Trey Turner one more time. I mean, look at the range by Turner, first of all, using that speed on defense, and then the arm strength, the shortstop arm. And look at the reaction from Tanner Roark and Max Scherzer. Some kind of defense here tonight. Wow.
Tanner looked truly astonished to me that Revere made that catch.
I couldn't believe he threw it. I'm like, what is he doing throwing that out?
So here's Ian Kroll, 44th game. He's been busy. Originally drafted by the A's back in '09. Part of some transactions with the Nats involving, ironically, A.J. Cole and Blake Trinan. That's when Mikey Morse left the Nats to go to Seattle. This is interesting. Matt Belisle, tight ball game. Getting ready for the 8th inning. That would normally be Sean Kelly's inning. Sean did pitch here last night and had to throw 23 pitches to get through the 8th inning.
Tell you what, Trey Turner in the leadoff spot and with his defense, wherever you put him, has made this team way better, period. Way better. And they were already good when he got here.
By the way, Kelly had also pitched in Denver Wednesday. That's going to roll through. How about Clint Robinson?
I'm surprised Freddie Freeman didn't go for this ball. I thought he had it and he just stopped. Clint Robinson will take the base hit for sure. Now he turns and 0 for 1 to 1 for 2. Watch this. It's like a step to his right. Oh, he slipped a little bit. I saw that. Okay, his cleat came out. Clint Robinson will take it.
Okay. Well, Clint Robinson, what else is new? Starting, and he's on base 3 times.
Well, he's playing right out of his pants tonight.
That was Here's Danny Espinosa from the right side. Here's Heisey in the background to hit for Trinan.
Yeah, we got a blowout over there at first. Clint Robinson's pants.
Big swing by Danny. 0-2. Whoa, right off the rail in front of the Nats dugout. There's an opening halfway down, and luckily it didn't get in there.
Daniel Murphy's so good, he probably used his bat and deflected that. Whoa, that ball was hit hard.
That one way out in front of Tyler Flowers. Glenn Robinson and Danny Espinosa have been on base a combined 5 times already. So the bottom of the order has been troublesome for the Braves. Pretty good rip.
He ain't getting cheated.
A base hit by Clint Robinson a moment ago. Nationals' first hit since the 6th. Trying to refire the offense here.
Yeah, he was robbed of a home run last time up, and then or a couple times ago, and then he gets a base hit that just trickles through.
I know.
Strange game, right?
Close to a perfect night. Now Espinosa works a full count. So there's Chris Heisey waiting. Flat-footed toss. Clint back easily. Up with the fastball and down with the hitter. 1 out.
All right, Nats Plus members and season plan holders, the Nationals postseason and renewal process has begun. The deadline to purchase your postseason strips is August 31st. Plus, if you renew for 2017 by that same date, you'll receive an extra postseason ticket offer. Go to nationals.com for more information right now. It says now.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Do it now.
12 more days. Chris Heisey against Ian Kroll, 0 for 1, but as a pinch hitter, 3 home runs, 6 hits, 3 batted in.
That line to move a little bit, maybe to get some add-on runs, and also Give Jason Worth one more chance.
Izzy with a good rip.
Tell you what, Chris Izzy's been a good Nat. He's always working hard. He's always in a good mood every day, helping guys out when he doesn't play. When he does play, he's bringing something to the table. Been a great pickup, in my opinion.
Ball gets away, but Clint Robinson didn't see it quickly enough. Yeah, he has the perfect mentality for a guy who's a part-time player, but he can fire it up when he gets those occasional starts.
No, he's a great guy. I mean, he's fun to be around. He's never whining about not playing, which a lot of bench guys can do at this level. He knows his role, and he practices real hard to be good at it. And that's a perfect bench guy. And when he does get a start, he makes something happen. So it's been a great pickup. Stephen Drew, too. And Nats need him back soon.
Three and one.
Solid too.
Steven told us the other day he's feeling better. Just a matter of time.
But good teammates is what you're looking for from guys that don't play every day on top of performance. You can't just be a good teammate, go out there and go over every day and stay on a team. But ideally, you want guys like Clint Robinson, Chris Izzy, and Stephen Drew. They're always helping guys. They're always in the same mood every day, and they're contributing.
Swing and a miss. Mercedes-Benz will track a strikeout. Here comes Trey Turner, who's never had a 4-hit game. Tonight, his 5th career 3-hit game.
What's wrong with this guy?
Well, he did make an out last time, but he got an RBI attached to that ground ball.
What's he been up for 32 games? Is that what it is? He hasn't had a 4-hit game yet. What's wrong with him?
I'd like to see a gapper and how long it would take him to catch Clint.
He would too. But the Nats will make you work, boy. I mean, it doesn't matter what hitter in this lineup is up there. They're making you fire some bullets.
Yeah, they've got the Braves up over 145 to 150 pitches already tonight. That ball gets away. Clint Robinson advances easily. So on the wild pitch, scoring position. Turner trying to give the Nats a 3-run lead.
So 1-2 count on the right-hander. He's got 3 hits tonight. You have a left-hander on deck, so everything kind of changes with that wild pitch. If you're Ian Kroll, are you going after Turner hard here? Or I think with 2 strikes you do, even though you got a lefty on deck.
Throws another one in the dirt. Tyler Flowers, a pretty good block.
A spike slider. A nice job. Look at that thing sitting right in front of him.
Turner left side. Backing up Beckham. He throws it away and the Nats will score. The Atlanta Braves with their 4th error of the series and probably their 6th or 7th miscue in the 2 games.
But that's the threat of Trey Turner and the speed. Did you see how quick he set his feet? Look, I got to get rid of it. It's Turner running. And he rushed himself. He wasn't ready to throw that. He had to throw it before his feet were under him because of the speed of Trey Turner. And that's the effect he has on infielders even before he hits you the ball. Beckham said, uh-oh, I got to get rid of this. And his arm wasn't where his feet were, and he threw it high.
Big run for the Nationals. They lead 6-3 now.
Jason Worth getting closer.
I know, thinking about that same thing. Lefty here, Kroll and Revere, and Bennell taking on the inside edge.
I know we talk about it all the time, Carp, but as an infielder, when you're out there and you have a runner like that, you're thinking, okay, if he hits it to me, I got to get rid of it. And that's the dominant thought in your mind the whole at bat. And then when you finally get it, and it gives you a weird hop, then panic sets in because you know you have to get rid of it before your feet are underneath you. And I always talk about this. I know Nats fans have heard it before, but errors are made with your feet as an infielder. And right there, Gordon Beckham's feet weren't underneath him because of that last extra hop, and he knew who was running. What a weapon.
And Revere to left for Kemp. The Nats will pick up a big unearned run. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, it's a 6-3 Washington lead. American Standard Heating and Air. It's their all-star sales event with up to $1,100 in instant rebates or 0% APR for 36 months. Yeah, try to hit a ball off the big leg kick of Warren Spahn. Great Hall of Famer.
He used to strike out a lot of people. It's time for Toyota Keys for Kids. The Washington area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a $37 donation to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by Nats pitcher this season.
So here's Matt Belisle, 36-year-old right-hander, 31st appearance, 34 innings, 31 hits, 26 strikeouts, only 6 walks.
Yeah, fastball, slider, curveball change, fastball two-seamer, 91 miles an hour on average.
Dansby Swanson, the rookie. How effective was Tanner Roark? It's the bottom of the 8th. And the bottom 2 hitters in the Atlanta order are batting for the 3rd time. A ball laced out the left center. That is hammered. Swanson into second with his third major league hit. Nats had him 0 for 6 in the series before that swing.
Got good at bat last time. He lined out to right. This time he goes shopping in the gap. Pretty good swing. Leadoff double for the Braves in the 8th. Jason Worth hustling over there to keep him to just a double. First double of his major league career.
And if you're wondering where Sean Kelly might be here, he pitched back-to-back days. Wednesday in Colorado, 23 pitches, 10 here last night. Second baseman Jace Peterson. Strike call. Right-hander Jose Ramirez for the 9th. The Nats will have Harper, Ramos, and Worth up. Big curveball, a beauty. Mark Melancon. I mean, he's up early, right? Could this be more than a 1-inning save?
It could be.
Comes up. Tying runs in the on-deck circle right now because of that hit.
A 4 or 5 out job, depending on what happens. I don't think Dusty Baker will stretch him any further than that, but you never know.
Reaching with a swing, and the ball comes up on Danny Espinosa. And now the tying run will be in the batter's box.
Boy, you could see that coming, couldn't you? Just had that one last hop, came up and bit him. Jace Peterson does a nice job of putting a good curveball down the zone in play, and that last hop came up real nasty. Watch the last hop. Boom. Shot on him. Mike Maddox to the mound, and all of a sudden we have a situation brewing here.
Top of the order, Inciarte, then the pitcher's spot. Go to Glover. Could be bridging from Belial to Melancon.
I mean, you use your closer for a 6-out save if it's September 20th and you have a 1-game lead. I don't think, based on the standings, that you would do that here tonight.
Inciarte, he turned this whole evening around. Tanner and the Nats were cruising at 5-0. He homered after the Peterson walk in the 6th. Went down and got one. Inciarte 2 for 4 career against Matt Belial. Keeping it low, looking for a ground ball. The count's even 1-1.
I just got an exciting game update on my Apple Watch, so it is getting a little tense.
Looked perfect. It is outside edge. 1-2. Braves have had a lot of base runners in the last 3 innings. 2-2. Slow roller right side. Robinson to short. Well played with the runner approaching. Braves score, and it's 6-4.
Yeah, that's just need out. So nice play by Clint Robinson. He created a lane by staying inside. Espinosa on the inside to receive it. Jace Peterson trying to go to the inside of the bag to disrupt the throw. Good play. 2-run game.
Jeff Francoeur will be hitting in the pitcher spot now. His 3-for-8 career against Matt Belisle. Looks like Dusty might be coming out to bring in Coda Glover. So Matt Belisle gives up a hit. There was an error. He gets a ground ball.
Which righty do they want? The umpires are asking him right now. Glover coming on.
Pressure pack situation for the rookie in a 6-4 ball game.
Nationals bullpen to protect a 2-run lead here in the 8th inning. This is Glover's second appearance with the Nats after recently getting called up from AAA Syracuse. He said during his recent time in the minors, he was really focusing on a couple mechanical adjustments, but also some pitch sequencing stuff. He wanted to work in his off-speed pitches more, and I mentioned to him, hey man, you throw 98, is it kind of a fine line between not staying away from the fastball too much? He said, well, kind of similar to what Pedro Severino told me about Reynaldo Lopez. Hitters up here can hit 98, even if it's got that velocity and it's got movement. So he's been working on the off-speed stuff in addition to that hard biting heater, guys.
Well, he's got a lot to bring to the table. He's going to face a very aggressive right-handed hitter here in Jeff Francoeur.
Got 2-seam fastball, 97 slider, curveball change to complement it.
First pitch slider. Francoeur 6 for 29 as a pinch hitter. Fan favorite here. They're happy they brought him back. Another slider. And now you don't have to throw Jeff Francoeur a strike necessarily to get him out.
I just love the makeup. We talk about the stuff all you want. This guy has zero fear. That's a game face, folks.
There's the 98. Two and two.
Yeah, pretty much fastball slider when you look at the percentages. He'd throw a curveball, throw a change, but right now it's just either Heat or slider? Frank Core's in swing mode. You could expand here. You have a pitch to play with. You don't necessarily have to throw a strike right here. You could try to climb the ladder with the heater. See if he'll go with you.
2-2 pitch. Slider. One hopper. Rendon. Fair ball. And he throws it into right field. Runners will end up at first and third. Still only one out.
Well, you don't see this very often from Anthony Rendon. We tried to get the force at second. He just rushed the throw, and he had to with Inciarte run, and that's another way that speed influences your defense. He knew he had good wheels at first.
Now, Freddie Freeman, Mike Maddox to the mound.
How about this test for a young pitcher? You got an error behind you, crowd into the game, you're on the road, and that guy's in the batter's box. This is advanced stuff for Coda Glover. We'll see how it turns out.
Absolutely. 2 Nationals errors in the inning. That probably hadn't happened more than a time or two before tonight. Freddie Freeman is 0 for 3. 3 balls in the air, robbed of the homer by Revere.
Well, I'll say this, there's an old saying in baseball, get beat with your best pitch, and Coda Glover's best pitch is 98. So we'll see what he does here with Freddie Freeman.
A ball to the gap in left center. That'll score 1 run. Around comes Frank Core. They're going to send him, and this game is tied. Takes away a possible win for Tanner Roark, and it's 6-6.
Well, he did get beat with his best pitch. It was a fastball up to Freddie Freeman, and he was first pitch hunting, so he got the upper 90s heater, hit it in the gap, and then Jeff Francoeur wheeled it around from first. I thought they might have had a chance, but it just stayed way out there too long, and now you got to keep Freddie Freeman at second and not let him score.
Here's Matt Kemp swinging a miss.
Yeah, nobody feels worse than Anthony Rendon right now. He's not used to making errors, let alone big ones. Espinosa too. Left side's usually locked down. Play long enough, it happens.
Kemp, soft fly ball, right center, but Turner's out there. He has it for the second out.
Big out, nice pitch.
Next up is Nick Markakis.
I mean, this is huge. You have 3 outs to play with if Freddie Freeman scores. I mean, damage done, tie ball game, yeah, but you got to keep it tied. And Dusty Baker going to go with the right-on-right matchup.
Yeah, Tyler Flowers, the catcher, on deck.
Absolutely the right move by Dusty Baker. Yeah, Flowers having a tough night, so Dusty Baker going for the right-on-right matchup. Struck out a few times, hit into a double play his second time up.
Eighth Brave to bat in the inning. Pretty good slider, outside edge. 91 with a slider.
Yep.
Wow.
Fastball mid to upper 90s, slider upper 80s, low 90s.
Jams in, the pop-up is out of play.
So what do you do right here? He threw a slider first pitch for a strike, then he was late on the fastball. Let's see what they decide on. Hard or soft?
And that ball a fly to Bryce Harper. He will lead off the top of the ninth. The Braves pick up 3 runs to tie things up. Harper, Ramos, and Worth. Pitch. 7-10 here from Turner Field. 6-10 2 Nats, 6-6 2 Braves. Jim Johnson pitched a 9th inning mop-up last night, 20 pitches, 10 strikes. And he's in a hold 'em situation now against the 3-4-5 part of the Washington order.
The opponent's hitting .239 against Johnson. Fastball, curveball, change. Fastball averages 93.1 miles an hour. More work to be done for the Nats. Who would have thought that?
Bryce Harper tonight 1 for 4. 2 RBIs, 1 a grounder, 1 a single. That ball some late fade to get out to the end of the barrel. Bryce 1 for 4 against Johnson. And he dropped a base hit into right field against him last night. Rolls one over to the second baseman, Peterson. When this one is over, Now that's anybody's guess. Tune into the Nats Extra postgame show. Johnny and Ray, presented by W.B. Mason. Top 9 tie game. Pirates blew a 2-run lead late, lost to Miami. Phillies blew a 2-run lead late. They're trailing in extra innings to St. Louis, and now the Nats losing their lead in a tie ball game, top 9. So Jason Worth will get that chance. Wilson will foul that breaking pitch out of play. 1-1. That ball is ripped the other way. Ramos 2 for 4 tonight, on base for the 3rd time.
Do you pinch run, excuse me, Severino here? Yes, here he comes. He can run.
Catcher for catcher.
So nice piece of hitting by Wilson. Go ahead, run on board. And Jason Worth trying to do a lot of things right here. Give his club the lead and extend the streak all in one at bat. Yo, Coda Glover didn't really do anything wrong that inning. Just, I mean, one fastball to Freddie Freeman that he probably wanted to locate a little bit better, but I thought all in all he did a nice job.
Yeah, retired the equivalent of 3 hitters. Jason Worth, career 1 for 7 against Jim Johnson. Strike call.
Tell you what, there's a lot of teams that need bullpen help, and Jim Johnson's been impressive.
That thing's got some sink and some movement on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
93, the last one. Inside to Jason Worth.
Jason trying to shake the cobwebs. Big pitch coming.
Talking about a guy who has 144 career saves. Worth not biting on the curveball. Count goes full.
Well, here we go. Start Severino here if you're Dusty Baker.
He does. Worth the bouncer left side, fielded by Beckham. Worth is out. Jason 0 for 5 tonight. Lead run to second base in the 9th.
Well, it's not too often in this game that you have a chance to make up for your error. But right now, Anthony Rendon has just that. You rarely get an opportunity to do it. You wish you could get up there and make a difference after you make one of those. Sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't happen. So Rendon with a chance to atone right here, right now.
Johnson walked him last night. Anthony 1 for 2 career against the right-hander.
And it just sounds weird saying that about him because he's been so good at third all year.
Not biting on another. And if he loses Rendon, left-handed batter on deck who's made some things happen tonight. Now it's 3-0.
Green light all the way. You'd think. We'll see what happens. Because you might take a 3-0 fastball right down the middle to get to a 3-1 curveball. So this might be the best pitch you see right here, right now.
Breaking ball stays high, 2 on 2 out for Clint Robinson.
Had a nice night. 1 for 2, a single, a couple of walks, 2 runs, robbed the potato. I don't think Dusty Baker hates that Clint Robinson is up in this situation.
Johnson retired him last night in their first career matchup. And Clint goes the other way for a base hit. Here comes Severino. The Nats on top again as Clint Robinson is on for the 4th time tonight.
Clutch. Absolutely clutch. I mean, give him a chance to play and he makes something happen. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's what he does. Every time he starts at first, he makes something happen. And the shift on, he beats the shift going the other way. Pedro Severino having trouble staying on his feet. The dugout went nuts. Way to go, Clint Robinson. How about a fist pump to the dugout? Nicely done.
Inning not over yet. Here's Danny Espinosa. Curveball in there. Well, that certainly brings Mark Melancon into play now.
And Coda Glover staying with it, getting that big out, leaving Freddie Freeman at second base. And Ben Revere's play. How big is that right now?
Breaking ball, low and in.
That was clutch. Good game plan too. I mean, you don't want to wait around for the Johnson curveball, so you go up there looking for a first pitch heater, a lot like Freddie Freeman.
Danny Espinosa not biting on the breaking ball. Daniel Murphy waiting. Pitcher spot next. Danny Espinosa will get enough to get it out of play. Crowd sticking around. They've got fireworks after the game. Nats have quieted them down here in the 9th. Espinosa, swing and a miss. Clint Robinson comes through with 2 outs. Ramos a hit. Rendon a walk. And now Mark Melancon on in Atlanta.
Ball game tonight. This one you're going to see a lot for a few weeks, I'm thinking. Ben Revere going up and over the wall. The little man with some hops, stealing a home run from Freddie Freeman. And how about this play by Trey Turner going up the middle, shortstop side, jump throw to get Gordon Beckham. Everybody amazed. And then how clutch was this? He said he was playing right out of his pants tonight. He's got a blowout. He might want to wear those again tomorrow. Probably patch him up. And stay on your feet, Pedro. The dugout went berserk. And a nice answer. How about showing some serious guts here in Atlanta? You remember Dan Ugglas saying here last year they just did that.
7-12-2.
Got a blowout.
6-6-2 the line scores. So here's Mark Melancon for the Nats. He will be making his 9th appearance already. 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts.
Cutter, 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 then a curve.
Gordon Beckham 0 for 4 career against him. Pedro Severino stays in after replacing Ramos on the base paths. Two and 0 into the 11 o'clock hour. Ball game approaching 3.5 hours and action packed right from the first inning. Right from the first at bat of the game when Turner doubled.
I feel like you and I have seen some crazy ones here over the years, huh?
You think?
I mean, we've seen some great ball games in this ballpark.
If you play somebody 19 times a year, things will happen. Unusual things.
Well, it seems like they happen more against the Braves than the Mets, Marlins, or Phillies.
Yeah, I think these ball clubs get a little fire in their belly when they know they're facing each other. So Melancon 3rd in the league right now. 4 of the 34 with the Nationals. Two-two pitch.
See if he tries that wipeout curveball here in a 2-2 count.
Looks like it. There it is. Wipeout. 1 out.
He put so much spin on this curveball. And that really wasn't one of the nastier ones we've seen. It just worked because Gordon Beckham was looking for the cutter. He was out front. Big first out here at the bottom of the 9th.
Now the rookie Dansby Swanson. Melanson struck him out in the 9th inning last night. Cutting to strike 1. His double got that rally started in the 8th. Let's see where Severino wants the ball. Going to stand up to receive this 0-2.
Snaps it back to Melanson, back in the crouch, putting his sign down. Love his energy back there. Telling Melanson he wants it in the dirt. Rookie telling the 3-time All-Star how to do it. I like it. That's what a catcher's supposed to do back there. Pointing to the dirt, tapping his glove on the dirt.
Two with 1 out. Big curveball, bouncing ball. Espinosa charging on the run. Got him.
Pretty close, huh? You have to challenge this. I don't care if you think he's out or not. You have to. Very close at first base. I have no idea. Let's look at it together. Tell me, replay. Whoa. Safe, right?
Well, the runner thought so.
Oh man, is that close?
The fact the Nats got the call might make the difference, but
safe.
Crowd reacting. He's on the bag before the ball gets there, and that's already been overturned. So they'll just give him an infield hit.
Good play, good hustle. Game on.
Overturned in 25 seconds. Here's Jace Peterson. For 2 career against Melanson, who got him on a ground ball to second last night. The Nats already have 3 double plays tonight.
Tell you what, give the Braves a lot of credit for fighting tonight. They're still fighting.
Dansby's speed got him to first. He was 13 out of 16 stealing at single A combined with double A.
Doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
Strike call and Melanson back even.
I always thought the cutter was harder to hit left-handed because it's late and it breaks off of your sweet spot onto your hands. Right-handed, at least you can get extended and hit it the other way when it's going away from you. And with Mariano Rivera, you always saw righties hit him better than lefties.
That's a beauty. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And I even saw a few switch hitters go up right-handed against Rivera. Backdoor cutter. Nice pitch.
Yeah, hitter sees that ball going outside, and suddenly it's not. Tried to bring it back again. Counts even.
Huge pitch coming. Goes to 3-2. It gives Brian Snitker a chance to start his shortstop at first base.
Swing and a miss. 82, diving down and away from the left-handed batter. It's up to Inciarte now.
Tell you what, this curveball is just disgusting. Watch this. Wipeout curveball, tremendous out pitch, and he gets you thinking about the cutter in, and he drops the yo-yo on you.
Inciarte, 2 for 4 night, the 2-run homer in the 6th. RBI ground ball in the 8th. 0 for 5 career against Mark Melanson.
I think Swanson has to think about going now, and he's got a bigger lead.
Melanson pretty quick to the plate there.
Tell you what, it just hit me. The body language, the mannerisms of Melanson remind me of Roger Clemens a little bit. It's been bothering me since he's become a Nat, who he looks like on the mound, and it's Clemens.
It tells you something.
Exact same mannerisms.
Now the Nationals a strike away.
I vote for a curveball. Not that I'm a catcher, a manager, or a pitcher. Just a dumb broadcaster, but I vote for a curveball right here.
Well, it is hard to hit something going straight down. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the 9th.
I'm going to vote for it one more time.
Until he throws it.
I mean, the risk you take is it's in the dirt and Swanson gets to second, and you're hoping it's the kill pitch. That's the only chance you're taking with the curveball right here. So it's sort of a gamble, I guess. Risk reward. Here it comes.
And he did well just to get contact.
He did. I don't have any votes left now.
1-2 again. Bouncing ball right side. Robinson to Melanson. The Nats hold on to win, and they've won the first 2 games of this series in Atlanta. Mark Melanson, 5th save as a Nat, and Coda Glover is going to check in with his first major league win.
Clutch by Clint Robbins. That's a gut check win. And Mark Melanson doing his thing. He's fun to watch. Coda Glover, I thought, did a good job of keeping Freddie Freeman on second base after giving up the double. And the Nats will take the win and get the heck out of this place tonight and try to do it again tomorrow.
Nationals win it 7-6, 12 hits, couple of errors, and for the Braves, 6 hits, couple of errors. Join us tomorrow night. How's good is the weekend looking now with Max Scherzer going tomorrow night? Join us at 6:30 when coverage begins. Yeah, Ben, this has been a presentation of Masson. Johnny and Ray straight ahead from Atlanta. See you later.